Hey, how's it going, everyone? I just wanted to do a quick video here on the Harbor Freight solar setup that I did for my Jeep Overlander. I do a lot of mountain biking up in Vermont and New Hampshire, and I didn't want to be constantly paying for hotels. So I picked up this Grand Cherokee. It's a 2004, and I did a little bit of research, and it turns out that the Harbor Freight panels actually do really well for the price, and I just wanted to kind of show you how I set it up. It's nothing fancy. It was quickly done, but it's held up for roughly 700 miles now, and I just want to show you how I did that. Starting on the rack system, the panels from Harbor Freight actually come with the aluminum frame around them, and they're pre-drilled in multiple spots for bolting. And I had considered doing a wooden frame, but when I went to Lowe's and Home Depot, it turns out that the angle iron that they have here was pre-drilled, and I was able to actually just bolt these two panels. These are the two 100-watt monocrystalline panels at Harbor Freight. They just bolted right to it. And then the first time I set this all up, I just had it laying flat. And then I realized that if I was somehow able to make it hinged on the front, I could use the built-in legs that they actually come with. You can see underneath here, there's one set I'm using the back set. There is a front set of legs. It's just not super stable if I use the front set. So I use the back set. And we'll open up this door here. The way I ended up doing it was just use a regular door hinge, bolted through here, and then actually top conned into my crossbar. I mean, they're just cheap crossbars. I didn't buy anything special there. So it worked out pretty well. Allows me to hinge it up. And as far as traveling, I just fold it down and then just use a couple zip ties. I actually just zip tie through the hole and then around my main bar here, and it's worked out fine. It does create a bit of noise. If you're used to light bars, it's a little bit louder than light bar, but my AC currently does not work in this car, so my windows are down anyway, and I don't really notice it. I'm sure if you want to spend a little more time, you can probably come up with a slightly more quiet design. As far as connecting them up, I did go to Amazon. I got I think it's a 15-foot extension cord. These are the SAE plugs. I forget the name of the other type, but these are the less common type. I got a splitter off Amazon, so I just connected both of these up. Just be aware that if you use a splitter and connect up to SAE, every time you connect a new portion, it's reversing the color. So, your red is going to be power, and then as soon as it goes into the splitter, black is now your power. However, it reverses back again once I connect into the extension cord. So now red is back to being power. And then I just run it through here. There's enough of a gap. It doesn't get squished or chafed. It's been there now for a couple weeks. And I just run it through my back door. I'll give you a little bit bigger shot. So this is kind of how my back of my Jeep is set up here. Sorry for the road noise. This is kind of one of my first videos like this, so hopefully it turns out all right. Anyway, just ran the cord down here and up the side. I did end up snipping the end of it and just brought it into my Renogy controller, and it works out fine. I have plenty of slack. I could honestly wire it a lot of different ways with how much wire I had left over. This controller right here is really what I wanted to talk about. You can have the most expensive setup for solar. It really comes down to your controller, and that's what I found out doing my research. Renogy seems like they have one of the best ones out there, so I spent the extra money. I think this kit, including the Bluetooth module that connects up to your phone, I think it was $109 on Amazon currently. It's the 20 amp. For these two panels that I have, 200 watts total, the 20 amp was fine. I won't really be able to expand too much, but I don't plan on expanding it either. It's pretty intuitive. The readout on the actual box itself is going to show you, so currently I'm pulling in basically 21 volts off these two panels. It's around 4 o'clock in the afternoon in August, so it's actually doing pretty well. It shows you your amperage. The battery has been charged here. I haven't been out camping with it, so it's only just kind of flow charging it, keeping it topped up around 0.04 amps, showing 100% on the battery's putting out 13.8 volts, And you can just kind of go through and look at the different readouts on it. It does have a few features are on the app through Bluetooth that are not on here, such as this right here. It's the thermal probe or the temperature probe for the battery itself. I'll show you that right now. If I can get this to work here. All right, so that piece that I have taped to the outside of the battery is actually the temperature probe. The Renogy controller intuitively measures the incoming voltage as well as the temperature of the battery itself. If the battery gets too hot, it will back off on the voltage. So it's always the perfect amount of current going to your battery. And that's why I say definitely spend the money on your controller. That is an MPPT solar controller, which is the better version. If you want to learn about the specifics of that, just go online versus the PWM. It's a little above my pay grade, but I will say running this fridge that I have overnight, just in the morning, by the time I get up, that little couple hours of sunlight has already pretty much topped up my battery again. So it really does well. And then, let's see if I can get a different angle here. That is the Harbor Freight 2000 watt inverter. It is the modified sine wave. Was not planning on running anything too critical off of it. So it was on sale with their Inside Track Club 2000 watt. I think it's 4000 watt peak. You can see I have it mounted actually upside down further up in my frame. I used 2-gauge wire from Lowe's, just had them cut me a 3-foot piece, put on my own connectors, wired it up to this. It's a Duracell AGM battery, got it at AutoZone. You definitely don't want to be using any kind of vented battery. If you're going to have it inside like I have in here, you want to get an AGM or lithium battery where they're not venting the hydrogen gas into your cabin. This will vent, but it's like a modified venting where it's only in the case of emergency, like an explosion, then they'll vent, but under normal circumstances, you're not getting the hydrogen vent off like you would with an unsealed battery in a regular RV or marine. The only thing I'm really running off of the system currently is this Hisense 1.6 cubic foot fridge. Can be had at Walmart for $89. It runs perfectly off of it, keeps my drinks, food, whatever you want cold. That one battery can run this realistically 4 hours constant, but since it only runs for roughly 3 to 5 minutes each time it turns on, as long as you're not opening it a lot, that one battery will power this for close to 24 hours is what I experienced, because I had a day where I didn't get much sun and it was kind of raining out. So eventually I will add in a second battery, but for now it's working out pretty well. If I wanted to use anything like a toaster oven, hair dryer, whatever else you can think of, you'd want to definitely get the second battery. But for just running a single fridge and occasionally charging my phone off of it, that one battery has worked out pretty well. And if you guys have any questions, go ahead and leave them in the comments. I'm not like an expert on solar, but I did do quite a bit of research before setting this all up. And I'm very happy with it for the price I paid, everything. Probably came out a little bit ahead compared to some of the stuff that Amazon has bundled together. But anyway, thank you guys for watching. Hope this is helpful to anyone that's considering purchasing like a Harbor Freight panel or inverter or anything like that. I will say I've monitored the output on them pretty closely. And if you read some of the reviews on these panels, people say they put out more than 100 watts. That is true. The instructions do say that they'll settle out over a couple months. They'll kind of lose a little bit of their output, but so far at peak charging on that one battery, they have put out over 100 watts each. So around 220, 230 watts is what I've seen maximum, and they've done very well. Anyway, you guys have a good one.